other guy. His arm around her like it used to be with me. Oh, it makes me want to die. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, here it comes. Here comes the night. Here comes the night. Ooh.
Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Kathy, if you give us a roll call, please.
Renee Saban.
Present.
Petrakos. Bergbauer.
Here.
Logley.
Here.
Vandermeer.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
Martelson.
Here.
Coretta.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, before we get started, Steve, our police chaplain, wanted to open us in prayer.
God, I just ask that you would bless the city council meeting tonight. And I thank you for each one of our city leaders. And I ask that you would just give them guidance and direction tonight, wisdom, and just help them to make the right decisions and choices for our great city. And I thank you for our fire personnel and all our police personnel and how you have kept them safe in the past and even now as they continue to work in our streets and in our city, that you would keep a hedge of protection around them. And as they're going on to calls, that you would give them wisdom and how to handle everything. And just thank you for what you've done for us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. All right, so tonight we have a lot of dark blue in the back. And we have some awards and some officers we wanted to recognize, and of course their comrades have come out to honor them as well as their families. So Terry, why don't you come on over to the podium and
Mayor and members of the City Council, we have different awards to give today, very deserving awards to a business owner, some citizens, and our police officers. And if we could start by having Dr. Paul Nevin and Carrie Budzinski come up here. Dr. Paul Nevin is from All Pets here in Lockport. If I come right over here, sorry. I'll read the awards individually. Yes. Dr. Paul Nevin, in recognition of your service to Lockport community for providing extraordinary veterinary care free of charge to the Lockport Police Canine Sitco. The care and treatment that you provide is exceptional, and we are grateful that such high-quality care is available in the city of Lockport. You are hereby recognized for your generosity and loving care of our most prized non-human commodity, Sitco. Dr. Paul Nevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't leave. Don't leave. No, Andy's going to come up next.
Okay.
Carrie Budzinski, in recognition of your service to Lockport community for assisting and caring for Lockport Police K-9 Sitco. Your sensitivity to the needs of our K-9 is greatly appreciated. Your love of animals is admirable, which enhances the reputation of All Pets Hospital. You are also recognized for spending 24 dedicated years at All Pets Hospital, where the residents of Lockport entrust you with the care of their animals. Carrie? Our K-9 officer, Andy Ganger, would also like to present something tonight as well.
As Chief said, my name's Andy Ganger. I'm Sitco's dad. I'm the K-9 officer here in Lockport. Really quick, I can't thank these two behind me enough. That's why they're here. That's why they're here to put a face to you guys. Dr. Navin does an incredible service for us, for Sitco. The last year and a half, he's had a couple injuries, and he stepped up, no questions asked, gave great care. He was incredible. His entire staff was incredible. I can't thank him enough. Carrie is our point person. Carrie is the one that I affectionately term the HBIC over at All Pets. She's the one that I talk to on a daily basis. She's our point person anytime I need an appointment, anytime I need medicine, anytime I need preventative, anytime I call freaking out because it seems like something's wrong with them. She's there, she answers the phone right away, and she fits us in, and they're pretty busy. So what the chief and I decided is one of the greatest things you can do in law enforcement to say thank you is to make a shadow box. And the shadow box is just, I'm sure everybody up here knows what they are, but we made a shadow box for Doc Navin and Carrie. It's just got a few little, it's got our patch, it's got my favorite picture of Sitco in it. And at this point, I'd like to present to both of them to say thank you. And again, from the bottom of my heart, some of these people back here would say the same thing. I can't thank you enough for what you do for him. On the few times that I have called on you guys, you've done it without hesitation, and I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. My wife's in the back, Shannon, our youngest daughter, Casey, and of course, Sitco's back there chilling out. He had a long day today training, but thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
Probably should have said this earlier. If anybody wants to take pictures, you can come on up and take pictures. If we could have Auxiliary Officer Bob Tague come up, as well as Deputy Chief Huff and Harang. So our auxiliary officers are volunteers. They volunteer their time to assist our officers and keep them safer. Deputy Chief Huff ran a statistic today, and our auxiliary officers put in 1,300 hours this year. So you imagine what that would be a time and a half. So it's really a good thing. But of those 1,300 hours, Bob Tague put in 600 hours. He comes out every weekend. He is the training coordinator for Metra, so he's got a big job himself. But every weekend, he comes out and rides with our officers on the busiest night, Saturday night. During the Canal Days Festival, he takes the entire week off, and he works 12-hour days during the festival. And remember, he's a volunteer. He takes the week off. So I said to him, in an effort to pick more auxiliary officers like him, I said, Bob, why do you, I just want to get to know you, but why do you volunteer so much? And he said, well, he knows I like motorcycles. He said, you know, your hobby's motorcycles. My hobby is the Lockport Auxiliary Program. I mean, that's how dedicated this guy is. I mean, so we thought we'd have to recognize him for the things that he's done for the department and keeping all of our officers safe. And the plaque reads, in recognition of exemplary service to Lockport Police Department, your extreme dedication has resulted in increased officer safety and a more secure community. Your performance exemplifies the true meaning of volunteerism, and it really does. Bob, can't thank you enough. Andrew. Officer Vinny Vitacco. Officer Vincent Vitacco is our Officer of the Year. He was recognized last Friday at the Chamber of Commerce banquet for some of the things he's done. I'm going to read you what the commendation letter says. In October of 2017, you were chosen to be the Department's Officer of the Year. You were selected due to your dedication and performance on traffic-related issues, particularly traffic enforcement. You took the initiative and communicated with Google and other mapping companies to alert them to newly dedicated truck routes in Lockport in an effort to keep trucks off neighborhood roads, and you all know what we were experiencing 6 months ago. You recommended changes to the Lockport City Ordinance to better address overweight trucks, and those changes were adopted. You identified over 100 weight limit signs that were missing and had them replaced by Public Works so that the ordinance could be enforced. You are the department's point person for citizen complaints regarding overweight trucks and are expert on all traffic-related issues. Your efforts led to a significant decrease in overweight trucks on our non-dedicated Lockport roads, which made the streets of Lockport a much safer place. You are hereby commended for initiative, forward thinking, and hard work. Officer Vinny Vitacco. Officer Brock.
Is that Andy breathing hard back there?
By the way, Andy, you're not his dad, you're his stepdad. Next award is a Meritorious Conduct Award for Officer Kevin Brock. On April 16, 2017, Officer Brock responded to a home where a juvenile respondent had attempted to end her life. The juvenile had slit her wrist, sustaining deep cuts, which put her life in jeopardy. When Officer Brock arrived, family members were panicked, creating a chaotic situation. Officer Brock remained calm, engaged the juvenile in conversation while skillfully applying an emergency tourniquet, which stopped the bleeding and any threat to her life. Officer Kevin Brock, you're hereby awarded the Lockport Police Department Meritorious Conduct Award. Auxiliary Officer Michael Chin. On June 16, 2017, Auxiliary Officer Michael Chin was monitoring the crowd at 8th and State Street for the Canal Days Parade. Approaching his position as a parade entry was a large tow truck used for towing truck-tractor semi-trailer combinations. Next to the big truck were people from the tow company bouncing large colored beach balls. As the truck approached 8th and State Street, one of the people bouncing the balls lost control of the ball, and the ball bounced in front of the large truck that was proceeding down the parade route. A child that was standing on the side of the road waiting to collect candy darted in the direction of the front of the truck without looking to get the beach ball. Auxiliary Officer Chen ran toward the child and pulled the child to safety as the child was less than 1 foot from being struck by the truck. Due to Auxiliary Officer Chen's quick action, a terrible tragedy was avoided. Auxiliary Officer Michael Chin, you are hereby awarded the Lockport Police Department Meritorious Conduct Award.
I want to thank all of you guys and the chief, for all that we do and all that we discuss up here and all the things that we have to deal with. Sometimes we forget that the bulk of our budget, the bulk of what we do is in public safety. It's really about keeping our citizens safe, which is really our #1 priority. What you gentlemen and ladies do for the department. And Chief, you've done a magnificent job with the department, working together, creating a great team. And I can't say enough about our department, so thank you all for what you do. And our police commissioners, I see Jack Miller back there, Pete Colorelli, his wife's back there as well, there he is. Thank you guys as well for, you know, as you guys recruit new officers and adding them, finding the right people for the team. We appreciate all that you do as well. So thank you all, gentlemen. All right. Why don't we, you guys, you don't have to wait. Yeah, I never take offense when everybody files out, so. Yeah, all those beards.
Yeah.
It was a good one. Called Papa's Bird.
All right, you guys, as everybody's filing out, how about our liaison reports? Anything going on in our the world of liaisons?
I can report on Lockport Live.
Yeah, please.
We had another meeting on Monday evening. It went very well. We're kind of moving along. We are working on some events coming up for the summer, like Art Walk, Roxy Theater events. We also discussed some lighting, which will include the pedestrian walkways and some other lighting to keep the city lit up during the construction. Also that the utilities will be starting November 20th with NICOR. There was great representation by Lockport Chamber, by Main Street, by business owners, and some city council as well. The next meeting is December 5th, and we encourage everybody to join in.
Good, good. Thank you, guys. Renee and Christina, thank you so much for driving that. We appreciate it. All right, what else? Catherine, you always have something.
Just a quick shout out to Officer Shank and Officer Phelan. They did an excellent job running trivia night for Special Olympics this past time. And so, good fundraiser. So thank you.
Right on. All right, anything else going on?
Yeah, this is for the LTHS Foundation. They're running a Grapes and Grains around the globe. It's $25, and there's 40 different beverages to sample. You start out at Embers, and then you purchase the wine at Port Noir. It's November 25th from 2 to 7, and you can get tickets from Kim Bream at the high school, Embers, or the Port.
All right, excellent.
And I just want to just reiterate, to remind everyone that if you see a home that has gone the extra step in decorating their home either for fall or for Halloween, because that's where we're at right now, and then, of course, the holiday lights, please contact me through City Hall, and we will get the address of the home so that we can go by, take a picture, and be ready to award the winners signs for their front lawn in January.
Okay.
Okay.
I got one in mind. I'll take a picture tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, very good. All right, anything else we have for liaisons? All right, very good. Thanks, everyone. We're going to jump down to CA1, Revised Residential Impact Fees Schedule. This is, we began this discussion last week, as you guys remember. And a couple things that I want to say before we talk about it again. I think a little bit of clarification is probably in order. I think that we did have an opportunity to meet with a few of the superintendents and a school board member here and there. And, you know, I think there was some confusion about how all this came about. There seemed to be like, suddenly there was this big 24% jump, and the schools did this, and it's really not accurate. I think exactly what happened was a lot of miscommunication. The schools and the city have worked together last year to rework the land cash fees, and that has been a cooperative effort, and it went well. As that was solidified and agreed upon, we looked at the school impact fee chart as well, and our staff put together that chart. And the ordinance has always said that there's a 4% escalator since it was first instituted back in the, I think, the 90s, early 90s, or was it the 2000s? 2004. 2004. So that 4% escalator was part of that, and the staff, when they gave them the new fees, they weren't new, they were the current fees, it included those escalators. And so when the school districts got that, they're like, okay, this is the number I'm supposed to be charging. Some of the schools had been including that 4% escalator for years, some hadn't. And so suddenly when, some of our developers got this, new fee, they're like, what's the school doing to us? In truth, it was what we gave them. So I think that was maybe schools felt like they were painted a bad picture. They were actually just doing what we presented to them. So no fault on the schools for this. However, we did want to talk about this fee, and I think it's right to do so. Just a quick history. 4 years ago, when we knew that we wanted to get our housing starts up and running, we as a council decided to lower some of our impact fees. I did reach out to the schools at the time and see if they wanted to participate in that. We all agreed that having more housing starts was beneficial to building our retail community, which we're now just seeing the fruits of, right, as we see Panera and Marcus and these things starting to come to fruition. The schools at the time weren't prepared to help with that, even though some of our ordinances are fees that we set, not even that's outside of the school. But we left it alone. That, because it wasn't time, and I agreed with that, and that was okay. And even though for the last 4 years I've been asked from time to time by developers to relook at that fee, I just said, not until I feel like it's replaced by something. And that's what's happened. So two things have come up recently that have brought this fee back to the table. One of them is Homer Glen lowered their school impact fee. And so that puts us at the high end of New Lenox, of our neighbors in Homer Glen. Some cities around us have zero impact fees. So that really put us at the high level, which was no longer going to put us in a competitive place. Even when I talked to the school board superintendents, they agreed that we needed to stay competitive. So there was no argument with that. So that was one reason that this topic came forward. The other was the fact that we, as a council, have worked very hard to find new revenues for the school. All those business parks, all those industrial parks, those are things that we've worked hard to. And we know that every time one of those buildings comes up, the number one people that benefit are our children. The schools get the lion's share of the property tax, and so we have worked hard to take care of our kids and the schools and make sure they get that money from these new businesses that have come in. And the school districts that are most affected by new housing also happen to be the ones that are getting the bulk of the money from the new business parks. So now that we've had money to be able to replace any of these school impact fees if we were to lower them, I feel like there's money not only to replace it, but and more so. And so this council's worked very hard, and the city has even gone, and in fact, even on our meeting tonight, we're going to talk about some tax abatements that we've worked for with Magenta and with Julian Electric. These are things that we've taken hits for just so that we could fill out these buildings and get these properties flushed out. And of course, the schools benefit from that. So I think it's right and okay for us to have this discussion about lowering these fees. The schools agree too that we need to stay competitive. I think the last thing we talked about was the percentage. Now last week we mentioned 80%. Granted, it was a number kind of threw out there, but as Ben and I and Lisa and Pam have looked at that number, we feel like it's actually not a bad number. It was actually a pretty good place to pick. We're going to look at, and Ben can go in a little more in details about this, about some of the 40% city tap-on fees that we're looking at reducing and 40% of our general impact fee that we're going to reduce. You couple that with 80% that we're looking off of the school impact fees, we will be back in a competitive place with our neighboring communities. And Ben can speak a little bit more to that here in a second. But I did ask the schools yesterday when I talked to those who came out to speak with Ben and I was like, look, if you guys have a number, please give it to us, right? We have another 2 weeks here before we would make a decision on this. And they may give us a number, but honestly, it seems like 80% really is pretty much the right number. We're open to other thoughts, but I think it makes sense. So Ben, if you want to talk a little bit more about how we came up with this number, I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So as we discussed reducing these fees, and again, these fees were established in 2004 by ordinance, and to change them, I believe we're going to be rewriting the ordinance a little bit, and we'll have that for you at the next meeting once we decide what they're going to be. But these were created at high growth times, and we obviously times have changed. And so when you look at the 80% reduction at this and the 40% reduction of the city's water tap-on and sewer fees and a 40% reduction in the city's general impact fees, and the elimination of any 4% escalator, we end up with the average cost to build a home in Lockport, a 4-bedroom is the example, of about $15,530. We were at $24,000. We were the highest at $24,000. I believe New Lenox is 16.6 or something like that right now. So we felt like we needed to try to be more competitive, and like, as the mayor mentioned, the superintendents we met with agreed. It's all about trying to find the right balance of this number, and we have run some other numbers in regards to 70 or 75%, but the effectiveness of those numbers and running those don't change the bottom line that much. You know, a 75% reduction is $15,903 versus an 80% reduction at $15,530. So I think a couple $100, you know, is probably not going to make a big difference in one way or the other. We certainly open, you know, for debate or discussions on that. I know that Darren had talked about maybe doing something with the library and the fire districts. They're the only other taxing bodies in this ordinance that receive money. It's basically the schools in the city, and then the fire district and the library. And it is all the school districts and the high school. And again, I thought we had a productive meeting with them, and I think they understood that this was the city's ordinance, and we were going to, you know, we were the ones that dictated this and created this situation back in 2004, and we're making a correction for a market time reaction. So certainly open to questions or seeking direction on how to proceed towards the next meeting in regards to finally setting this resolution and moving forward.
All right, thoughts, concerns from the council?
Okay. Yes, it is true, as there are two other fees left on this, in this ordinance that I think we need to take a look at. One is the library impact fee. Since this 2004, the library has had a huge renovation via referendum. And so it's $100, and so I simply have no idea, or I can't comprehend how a new home is going to have an impact on the facility at the library. Okay, so I think that it should be either eliminated completely and or subject to the 80% reduction. Granted, it's only $20. That they would receive per household, but I just don't know the impact. They've already have a essentially brand new facility since this what was brought in. So I leave that for you. But then on the other hand, we have the fire districts. They receive in this ordinance $250. And they're on the other spectrum, okay? We do have a fire district, the Homer Township Fire District, that is in financial difficulty. Simply, you know, they went out to referendum a couple years ago. They have equipment that should have been retired a number of years ago, and I think it's via federal mandate or something. I know they have their portable truck, whatever it's called. But one of the things that how that may affect homeowners is there's this thing called an ISO rating, which is for the insurance industry. Now, every fire district, every community goes to gets an ISO rating, and the ISO rating is part of the formula is the ability to supply water, the municipality to be able to supply water. And also it's the equipment that the various fire districts have, okay? And so Lockport Township Fire District, they do well. They have received quite a bit of new revenue via a lot of the development that's been along Weber Road in the Lockport Township in their district area. But the Northwest Homer Fire District, they've received a little bit of new cash via the ML properties out there, and they're receiving some more. But the Homer Township Fire District really is the weak sister when it comes to finances in that situation. So I would like to see an increase, from $250 up to $500 for the fire districts. And even if we just basically, I mean, I'd be happy with just for the Homer Township Fire District, simply because they're the ones that actually, if we build a house if a house gets built within their fire district, which there aren't very many that I know of. I don't know if Sagebrook is within their fire district. So Sagebrook is now within their fire district. So there aren't any houses actually being built right now within their fire district within the city of Lockport, okay? But there could be in years to come, okay? One of the end results of us going through with, having the county reassess this middle alignment with this SRA route, that then immediately opens up approximately 1,000 acres for residential 5, 6, 7 years from now, okay? So, and that will have a significant impact within that one specific fire district, but not the other fire districts. So I would just like to throw that out. It's either $250 $500 for all the fire districts, but the one that really needs it, that would have any future impact, would be the Homer Township Fire District. So,
All right.
submit those.
Thanks for your input, Darren. What does everyone else think?
Darren and I have debated this a little bit. I guess we probably could do it just for Homer Township Fire District. Is that correct?
I think we could probably work that out.
It's our ordinance.
I'm not in favor of it. I think it's adding complexity that we don't need by doing different rates for different fire districts. I also, just to give you a little bit of background, Darren is right. Homer Township Fire District does need more money. They did go out for a referendum. I personally wish the referendum would have passed. But what the main piece of equipment that Darren is talking about is a pump truck, that they need a new pump truck. Their one is old and they need a new pump truck. And I don't doubt that they do. The city of Lockport and anyone else who will annex and build in the city of Lockport does not need the pump truck. We all have fire hydrants, right? The pump truck, quite frankly, serves most of Homer Township and some of the southern parts of Homer and Glen. And yeah, being a part of a taxing body, you share responsibility. But it seems odd to me that we would put more burden, this is similar to the school conversation we just had, more burden on somebody who wanted to build in the city of Lockport than if they were to build in Homer Township or in Homer Glen, for this particular need that is our need more particular to Homer Township and Homer Glen. Also, when we talked about the school fees, some people have said, well, if we're going to do something different, they need to justify it. And, we got some things from a realtor association I assume everybody got, talked about justifying the fees. Again, I don't disagree that Homer Township Fire needs more money, but us sitting up here with that opinion, and to my mind, doesn't justify a need through ordinance to give Homer Township Fire District more money. So while I agree in kind of theory of the things that Darren said the needs are, I don't think this is the right way to go about it through a city of Lockport ordinance. So I'm fine with everything that was presented for the schools and in the city and the way it was presented today. My particular vote for the fire ordinance would be to oppose an increase on the fire department.
Let me ask you a question. Would you be comfortable with language within this amended ordinance that would allow a specific taxing body to go ahead and bring their request for a need to come before us? It's currently not within the ordinance. Remember, it's our ordinance.
I understand it's our ordinance. I guess it depends on, I don't know, right? Homer Township has a funding issue. Homer Township Fire Department has a funding issue, right? And they've got to solve that. And they've got to solve that with their constituents, which I am one of them. I don't think it's a Lockport City thing to try to solve.
Let me just add, I was talking about ISO ratings, okay? And each fire district does have an ISO rating. Those that are within this fire district, correct me if I'm wrong, is their homeowner's insurance premiums are based upon that number, correct? And the lower the number, like, I believe the city of Lockport's is 4, okay? But, and I don't know what the number is out there in the Homer Township Fire District, but if that number goes up 5 or 6, it's everybody within that fire district, their homeowners' insurance premiums are directly related to that ISO number. So even though, yes, it is City of Lockport, and people in the future that may be building in the City of Lockport, it has a direct relationship with that
But
number.
so do the quality of schools, right? And we're saying it's not fair that Homer pays less than Lockport residents and New Lenox pays 0 to get into 33C. You're doing the same thing, in my opinion,
Well,
with the fire
homeowners
district.
insurance isn't based upon schools.
No, but I'm just saying it's a similar, it's an analogy.
All right.
6 other opinions, that's mine.
What are some other thoughts on that?
If I can throw in before, you guys know I need to abstain from this, right? I'll still abstain from this. The only thing I ask is we remain fair, right, to every taxing body that's there, and let's make this simpler, not more complicated. I think we're going down a slippery slope of saying the library doesn't need something, but the fire station does, and who are we to sit there and judge on all these other taxing bodies where we'll be here all night trying to figure that, and nobody's here to hear I want to be fair, to be honest. So the library can certainly come up here and explain how they need more books or internet or technology and all that stuff. I'm just saying, if everyone does, let's just keep this fair across the board and make it
But
simple.
it's important to understand is that the impact fees are not for books. They're not for technology, they're for buildings. They're for infrastructure.
But you're talking about a pump truck.
Talking about a pump truck, right?
Well, it is infrastructure.
Well, look, I do agree with Jim on this. I think, like you're making it complicated, Darren. I think in the same reasoning that we talked about bringing some of the new industrial that helps increase some of the funding that these taxing bodies have received, it goes across the board for all of these taxing bodies. I would just say be fair. My feeling is be fair. Just everybody gets an 80% reduction. And quite frankly, and this sounds weird, but like, except for the library, if it's going to be $20, just dump it. It's not even, it's harder to write a $20 check and mail it out than it is to even, I would just eliminate the library altogether if it's going to be reduced 80%.
Mayor, if I can also ask, I thought it was in the ordinance, but it should be in the ordinance that somebody should, other taxing bodies, and this is part of the Lockport Intergovernmental Committee meeting, saying we are getting an undue hardship. They should be able to approach us
I agree
as the
with that.
gatekeepers and open this up and say, absolutely, we're not here to kill anybody or do anything like
Right.
that, and let's keep this fair.
And I would agree to that language, because if a development comes in, let's say that middle alignment route becomes housing, absolutely, they should be able, that's why I didn't want to eliminate this in the first place. I wanted to have the mechanism.
I'm all for language within the, if undue hardship, whatever the words are, I agree with that.
I think there were dual purposes to this, right? And I'm abstaining from voting. I'm trying to be even keel with this, but it was meant for, there's hardship about new homes, new businesses, new anything that's there that's being put on any type of taxing body. But there was also a part of just saying, well, you also have to tell us that what is the burden, what have you done with this money, how are you using this money, and so forth. So there's an accountability on that side and explaining it and doing that. I think we've got to clean up the language, make it a little simpler, and then make it a little bit more transparent between all taxing bodies to say, this is what we're using it for, absolutely, let's all just sit down and discuss. And that is part of the intergovernmental committee meetings. We're going to have a lot more of those conversations. So,
Other
with that, I'll
thoughts?
abstain.
Ben, can you tell me which schools you talked to this week? Did we talk to all of them?
We met with 33C, we met with 92, we met with 205. I have spoken recently in this week from Kelvin Grove as well, and Taft. Taft, Fairmont, and Kelvin Grove really aren't impacted by this very much. This is new residential only, so they're only getting 1 permit a year in those areas or something like that. It's really the higher growth new subdivisions that are further east. So 33C and 92 and the high school were would be the most impacted. So we did.
Here too, from Fairmont, if you want
Well, what I would say is this, especially with, and this is why I think the language, to clarify it, I believe it's in the ordinance, but I think to clarify it is important. Because in Fairmont, I mean, if this Briggs Street, that development behind Cross Point ever comes to fruition, that's a lot of houses all at once. And I think for them to be able to come in here and say, hey, look, this, we need this impact fee at a certain level in our district because we're the ones about to get, you know, 600 or 300, whatever it is, I think it's a legitimate case that we should be able to talk about.
Let me
here.
address something about Fairmont, and Pam, I think you can help me on this, because we looked into this a couple years ago. In regards to school impact fees, I believe that with the Lago Vista development, that it was a maximum of $65,000. That was something you sent me 18 months ago, $65,000, and they have met that, okay? But then there's also the argument here is for Lago Vista, there is zero impact on the facilities at Fairmont.
Right.
Okay?
It's not,
yeah.
Impacts on the taxing, people paying the taxes, you don't have children.
Well, there's zero impact on the facility. Okay.
Right, so when a home is added in Lago Vista, it's not burdening the school. It doesn't, but they are actually getting money just from the regular property tax, so.
But I just think that, you know, if in the event that we do see the Fox Hollow area sometime in the future, okay, that's all part of when they bring their concept plan or their preliminary plan to the city of Lockport, that's when we have that discussion about the impact. Okay, and so it's that impact might be 10 years from now, 15 years from now, but I don't like to have something on the books in the event for the what about type of scenarios that may never ever come to pass.
I'm confused because I thought you were just advocating to have language in the.
Well, I'm advocating to have language, okay, but I'm not advocating. Okay, is okay, if Fox Hollow might come, well, then we need to keep things the way they are based upon what might happen, okay?
No. We reduced by 80%.
Okay.
But the language is in there, is any taxing body can come appeal
I
to the
agree.
city.
That's fine.
If there's, you know, if they're like, hey, look, there's a large development coming in, we need to have a conversation. I think that's perfectly acceptable, and that goes back to the spirit of what this.
And that currently is not in the current
All right, so then,
ordinance.
yes, we're in agreement on that. I'd like to see that kind of language so that the taxing
Kind of like what we do
body-
with the land cash, yeah, we'll work on that.
All right. Any other input?
Well, that was my question then for Lago Vista, because I'm reading their, not for Lago Vista, for Fairmont, I'm reading their residential impact fee for Fairmont. Since they started out so much lower, their fees for the school are very minimal. I mean, and they wouldn't know when we're going to start building unless they follow our meetings. So it's almost going to be a reaction for them by the time they come up in meetings and stuff.
We meet with them
But-
proactively. I mean, when we talked about department complexes, we reach out to them, we sit down with them, we tell them what's coming and get their feedback,
So with the apartment, if I read this chart right, it says a one-bedroom, they'd get $3, a two-bedroom, $147.
The apartments typically don't generate a lot of children.
No, but I'm just
Those are
pointing out that's what the
formulas
fee
set
would be
by
for
the
them.
state.
And then you brought up a good point with Lago Vista. There's no way to put it in the writing then that if it's a 55-plus community, we could.
I think what Darren was speaking to earlier about Lago Vista was at the PUD,
Capped it.
they pre-negotiated a cap on that, and that's already been met, so those new impacts aren't providing anything to them anyway.
So
And we
they
can't go
won't
back
have-
and reopen an annexation agreement.
Okay, no, I mean, so that's good, but the first homeowners would have paid the bulk of that then.
Yeah.
So-
Up to 65, yeah.
They'll pass it on to homeowner. new
Yeah, we
homeowner.
pass it on.
All right, so let's try to solidify our position here. Do we all feel comfortable with the 80%? All right. Again, I did, what's that? Oh, yeah, except for Jimmy's. So, who abstains? And again, I said to the school districts, I'm open if you appeal to us over these next couple of weeks why the 80% is not the right number, but with us doing the 40% in our two different, which adds up to 80, you know, altogether, I think we're being very fair. So, as far as the fire district and the library, I'm for being across the board. I don't want to pick and choose. The only thing I would do differently is the library, because going down to a $20 impact fee seems so minimal, it's probably not even worth the time for anybody to write a check for $20. So I would just eliminate the library. Do you have a?
Yeah, just my comment on that. So it kind of sounds like you're saying you want to reduce the fire district fee by 80% as well. And I think you're taking a rough math here, you know, $250 fee that they're getting would go pretty low as well. And I don't know, not having any real conversations with them, I don't know if that's never been part of this.
I can be honest with you, my initial feeling on it was not to touch those. They were so low, I was just going to leave them at 250 and
that was
100.
I'm trying to get to that recommendation.
All right.
I would leave the library and the fire district alone.
All right, so yes, since they're so minimal, I would leave them.
All right, it's fine.
All right. So, all right, so let's move forward with that.
But what about our fees
Sorry.
then for the city? I mean, if
Yes.
we lower those, then don't we just say, oh, we need more in the budget, we need a levy, we need, you know, we're gonna get the money from somewhere then. And so they are having an impact on us by putting more homes in our community, so then we need more water.
Right.
Why
But
would
they
we
do
wanna-
pay an annual property tax forever after that. So these are one-time impact fees. Once the home is built, they will pay into the community like everybody else does every year. So they all have their, forever fees that they have to pay, like we all do. We all have to pay our property taxes.
So
It's not
our-
like there's no money that comes out of them.
Yeah, our water tap-on fees were $7,500, then it would now be $6,000. So we're still getting a good portion of funding from a one-time build.
All right. So we'll leave this out. We'll put it on for an action item for next meeting. And if any other thoughts, concerns come up, we have an opportunity to talk about them. But otherwise, that's what we'll put on there for now. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Lisa, you going to take FD1?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At the June 1st, 2016 City Council meeting, the council passed an economic incentive agreement with Julco LLC, also known as Julian Electric. The agreement provided that the city abate 50% of the city portion of their property taxes for the next 5 years, not to exceed $20,000 annually. So in front of you is ordinance number 17-041 that we're looking to go ahead and pass that before we pass our tax levy.
Sure. That was an agreement, so anybody have any thoughts, comments on it?
I've already looked up this data, just so the other people in the council know, both Magenta and this other one, Julian. They were, neither of them are remotely close to the $20,000. I think Magenta was like 11, and so divide that by 2, and Julian was like 14. So it's a grand total of about $12,000 between the two of them.
And these were, we tried to recruit them, and it was a competitive thing, and we worked with the Will County that also abated their taxes for the same time period, and I think they've proven to be good employers in the area, so it's a continuation of that effort.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see those parking lots filled up with cars and people over there working. It's a good thing.
Is some of the people wasn't somebody contesting it or the taxes or something like that? How does that work with this abatement?
Not either one of these.
None of these. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Is this something we could probably put on the consent agenda?
True.
Okay.
So the second one is for Magenta. We had already passed the first year last year, so this year is just a reaffirmation of that. So we're using the same ordinance, 16-025. A new ordinance is not required. So every year we'll come back to you just to go ahead and approve it, just so it's reaffirmed. But that'll be the same thing with the Magenta here, and this is year 2.
Okay. Any concerns? Otherwise, we'll put it on the consent. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you. All right, Pam, what do you got?
Yes, thank you. This evening, I asked the council to consider the independent contractors agreements that we have for both building services and plumbing services. Back in 2014, the city hired a gentleman named Bob Krupski to complete our plumbing inspections and plan reviews. Per state requirements, all plumbing inspections must be performed by a licensed plumber, by which Bob is. He also provides similar services to nearby communities such as New Lenox, Homer Glen, and Mokina. And then in 2016, the city hired Rick Dandon to help assist with required building inspections and plan reviews due to an increase in the number of permits issued, primarily those related to home improvements, because as the economy started to improve, we noticed that there were a lot more people willing to make some investments into their homes. The city learned of Mr. Dandon's contractual services when he assisted H.R. Green when our building official went on vacation over the holidays. He also provides similar services to other communities. Both Rick and Bob have consistently provided high-quality service to our residents and businesses. Their services are currently meeting the needs of the department. What's also nice about them is because they are independent contractors, they structure their inspection and plan review rates with the city in mind, and they do not charge the normal consultant rate that can be anywhere from 2.5 to 3 times more per hour, depending on the experience of the staff providing the service. Staff feels that both remain qualified to continue their services. Initially, when we hired both, it was at a time when growth was a little bit slower, and their contracts were less than $20,000 and were authorized by the city administrator and myself as approved by the city administrator. However, with the upturn in the economy this year and what we anticipate for next year, we feel that their contracts will probably exceed the $20,000. Working with Lisa over for this upcoming budget, the budget does allocate $80,000 for building consultants and $20,000 for building plan reviews. Inspections for each of these gentlemen would be expensed to the consultant's account, and plan review expenses would be expensed to the plan review expense account. Some of these costs are offset by the building permit fees that we do collect. In general, though, I will have to start taking a look at our building fee structure, and it's probably in need of some update to really reflect more accurately the cost of services not only provided by the interior or internal staff, but also by any contractual employees. So staff does recommend approval of both of these contract agreements. They are being reviewed by our city attorney for compliance and consistency throughout with our other templates, and therefore no action is needed at this time. However, we would be providing the contracts at an upcoming meeting in December upon adoption of the budget.
All right, council, thoughts, concerns?
I got no problem with the services that they're providing, but contract-wise, are we putting them on the same as like our engineering? We're just switching it over to that. So, and I mean, since they're independent contractors, we're checking their insurance too.
Yes.
So
Yeah, they're required to carry.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so just info and...
We'll bring back contracts in the future, yeah.
All right, thanks. Look at that. The end of our page. Anything for new business? All righty then, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
That's Big Jim and JR. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll roll along, yes?
Oh, no, I totally agree.
All right, when you get a chance, Kathy, whenever you're ready, just do a roll call for us.
Saban.
Present.
Petracos.
Present.
Birdbauer.
Here.
Maloney.
Here.
Vandermeer.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
Bartleson.
Here.
Coretta.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. So first thing on here is looking to have a motion for a consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, we got Jim and Jason, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so for our consent, we have the November 1st regular city council meeting minutes, the November 1st committee of the whole meeting minutes, our payroll period ending November 5th, our various bills, the 2018 annual meeting calendar. There's a motion to approve that. Resolution 17096 was a motion for disposal of some surplus police property. And then we had our MFT funds for salt purchases. Also, we had the Illinois Route 7 frontage road bridge. We had a motion to approve implementing the agreement for submittal to IDNR. And lastly was the engineering design for that same bridge. So Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Jim, seconded by Joanne. May I have a roll call, please?
Saban.
Yes.
Petracos.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Gologly.
Yes.
Vandermeer.
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Artelson.
Yes.
Beretta.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All righty, Lisa.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mayor. First item I have is the 2017 property tax levy. What I put in front of everybody was some revisions. It's not a revision to the total amount of the tax levy. We're still at the 6.3 million. It's just where the money's being allocated. I shifted some line items around. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that, and those ordinance was attached.
Okay. Sorry, I was just looking for some stuff. All right, what do you need from us?
Nothing, well,
Okay.
nothing right now.
Oh, is that you
If
doing this to
anybody-
me? Am I supposed to read my hearing now?
I just wonder if anybody has any questions to
Okay.
that. If not, yes.
You gotta
you
say,
do your public
questions?
hearing.
Anybody got anything for Lisa on that? All right, sounds like no questions.
Okay, now we can have the public hearing.
All right. I love it, I get to read. Okay. So November 15th, 2017, public hearing for our proposed tax levy increase. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive oral and written testimony regarding the City of Lockport's proposed 2017 tax levy. The official notice of the public hearing publication was made on November 6, 2017, Joliet Herald News. The city has received no written testimony regarding the proposed tax levy. Any participant can come to the microphone and state their name and address. Please limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Be concise in your statements. So, does anybody have anything want to talk about? You guys good back there? Okay. So all persons who had any desire to be heard were given an opportunity to present oral and written testimony with respect to our proposed tax levy. I'll now entertain a motion for final adjournment of this hearing. So, just looking for a motion to adjourn public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
JR, Renee, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So we will be looking for approval at the next council meeting of the property tax levy.
Okay.
The next item is the 2018 Budget Ordinance 17-036, looking for a motion to approve our budget ordinance. Nothing has changed since it's been presented at the Council Committee of the Whole and at the public hearing at the last meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Darren, JR, any other comments on this?
No.
Okay. Kathy, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Saban.
Yes.
Petracos.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Gologly.
Yes.
Vandermeer. Yes. Deskin.
Yes.
Artelson.
Yes.
Beretta.
Yes.
Motion passed.
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Mr. Can.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I do have one item on the agenda this evening, EW-1. This is the State Street, Illinois 7 water main project. What this is this is the replumbing of the services as part of the overall State Street project, which I know everybody's very well aware of. This work would be actually from the edge of what is IDOT's right away, which is the front of the buildings, and into the building. So this is replumbing, taking all of the services that used to come out of the rears and the sides and various locations, taking them out the front of the building, tying them in. We did have very good bids. $375,000 was what we had budgeted in the CIP and in the water sewer fund for next year. And the bids for the project came in favorably, as I mentioned, for $358,536. This was in the award, or not awarded, but this was parent low bidder is D Construction. And this evening, I'd like to bring it to council for consideration.
Okay, so looking for a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion.
JR, seconded by Darren. Thoughts, concerns? Comments, grapes? All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Saban.
Yes.
Petracos.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Gologly.
Yes.
Vandermeer.
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Artelson.
Yes.
And Beretta.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Could I have one other thing very quickly, if I may? The media release that I put on everybody's desk this evening, this is something that we've been working very hard internally trying to get prepared for, again, the State Street project, which everybody knows is a is going to be a big undertaking next year. This is the NICOR portion of the work, and again, this is something we've been working on with NICOR. We met with them this week, gave us a final schedule. They will be starting work on State Street Monday the 20th, so a couple days from now they're going to be starting. It will be the exact same lane closures that we're going to see next year, so it'll be a little bit of a trial run. The work is anticipated to last 4 weeks. There will be a couple overnight lane closures, actually road closures, so there will be 2 to 3 nights overnight from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m., and we'll get this information out when we have the exact dates. It'll depend upon how far they get, over the first week or so. But the actual intersection of State and 9th, east and west, will be closed, again, overnight from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. We will get those dates to you as they're made aware. It will not be next week. It will be likely the following week. But I wanted just to make everybody aware of that. Again, this information, we're posting it everywhere that we can. If you flip to the detour, you can see the detour is actually recommending that folks go north up to 135th Street. And so you're going to take either New Avenue if you're on the east side, if you're on Lockport side, and then if you're on the Romeoville side, you would take 53 up and take that detour. So again, this is a key part of the project. We are here to take any questions. As always, we handed out notifications, gave cards and phone numbers, but this is a big piece of it, and just asking for everybody's cooperation. Yes?
I have a question for you. Will this be actually on the website so that people can go and refer if they have any questions? I mean, so that way, okay, it will be.
Yep,
okay.
we'll add it to our Public Works and Engineering
Okay.
Page,
And
absolutely.
if we can put it out, then have Ryan put it out on our social media page as
Yeah,
well.
that'd be good.
So just to clarify, for me, when they close 9th, east and west, they're going to try to do this in the evening?
It will be in the evening, yes. It will
All right,
be
so they'll
7
be back open in the morning.
7 p.m. to 5 a.m., open at 5 a.m.
Okay.
And then, and what they're going to do to make just a little bit easier for their crew, for that entire week, they're going to work overnight. So they're going to cross, it'll take 2 days, maybe 3 to cross the intersection, but then the rest of that week, they'll just work overnight as well, so there'll be no work.
Okay. All right, thanks for the update, Brett.
Real quickly, no construction on Saturday then, the 25th, or will it be 25th? Because that's Christmas in the Square.
I will confirm, but no construction. I've been told it's a 5-day work week.
Okay.
And there will be no construction on the weekends.
You'll have Christmas in the Square, you'll have the Embers or the Tailwinds event, you'll have a lot of stuff going on that Saturday. So just want
I
to
will
say that
confirm.
we don't want to have it that day if we can avoid it.
All right, me friends. Anything else? Then looking for a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Seconded by, I think Jim jumped in there. All in favor?
Aye.
Fastest meetings.